Introduce me again, sorry.
Oh, no problem. Good morning again. This is Dr. Pamela Thomas. She is here to present our May online with the CMC, and it's going to be getting serious about series. So, Pam, take it away.
Thanks, Eric. Good morning. Sorry. I am Dr. Pamela Thomas, but you can call me Pam. So how do you determine if an item is part of a series? Is it a traced or untraced series? When you have MARC field 490 with the first indicator 1, then you must also add an 8XX field. But which one? I will help you determine when to add a 490 8XX combination to your MARC bibliographic record. So our agenda today, I'm going to go over when you add a 490 first indicator 0 to a bibliographic record, how to handle series like phrases, and when to add a 490 first indicator 1 with the 800 first indicator 1, a 490 first indicator 1 with the 810 first indicator 2, a 490 first indicator 1 with the 811 first indicator 2, and a 490 first indicator 1 with the 830 second indicator 0. I will also cover how to tell when you need an 800, 810, 811, or 830 field for the authorized series title. Some of the authority and bibliographic record examples in this presentation were created under AACR rules, while others were created using RDA guidelines. So what MARC field is used for the series in the authority record determines which field will be used for the authorized series statement in the bibliographic record, or the 800 fields. You can use the Library of Congress Authorities database to look up authority records as well, but the examples in this presentation are from the authority file in OCLC. So here are two definitions for series. The first one is from the UNT University Libraries. The term series describes items published under different titles that all have the same secondary title, such as a series of individual books that form a trilogy. In archives, series may refer to a record series or group of items in a collection that have the same format, topical context, or other similarities. And then the RDA glossary defines a series as a set of manifestations that embody the parts of a work, the issues of a serial work, or the units of a manifestation. And if somebody would like to break down that definition for me, I would love to hear it. Sorry, not a fan of some of the word usage in the RDA toolkit. Okay, so I want to give you a little bit of the background about series authority records. So when the Library of Congress decided not to create or update series authority records in 2006, the Program for Cooperative Cataloging, or the PCC, took over this responsibility. So as you see on the screen, on June 1st, 2006, the Library of Congress implemented the decision not to create or update series authority records, or SARs, and not to provide controlled series access points in its bibliographic records for resources and series. And then that's when PCC offered its members the options to continue to trace series and create series authorized access points in the LC-NACO authority file. And so the responsibility for series policy decisions and for series authority training now rests with the PCC member institutions other than LC, and that's from the NACO series training handbook. So sometimes this is the effect that some series have on us. So when you finish an amazing series and it was so good, but now it's over and you've forgotten how to live without it. So the girl in the screen is saying, I'm probably fine, but I also might be dead. So we're going to look at several MARC fields with 490 first indicator 0. So this is the CCH editorial staff publication. Notice the 130 second indicator 0 field heading uniform title is not to be considered a series. So look at that first 667 field, the non-public general note. It says it says not to be considered a series. Give as quoted note if Commerce Clearinghouse or CCH Inc. does not appear in publication, etc. area. So let's look at a bibliographic record and see how the cataloger recorded this non-series statement. So here's the MARC record. This is just the partial bib record for antitrust improvements. So it's got CCH editorial staff publication in the 490 first indicator 0 field. So this is the series statement, series not traced. There is not an 8XX field with the series title, and there shouldn't be. So the guidance from the authority record was to give this as a quoted note if Commerce Clearinghouse or CCH does not appear in the publication, etc. area. Since Commerce Clearinghouse does appear in the 260 field, subfield B, then the series statement can be documented in the 490 first indicator 0 field, which is what the cataloger did for this one. So this is part of the bibliographic record of young explorers around New York. So the young explorers around series is not traced. We see the 0 as the first indicator in the 490 field, the screenshot on the top left with the arrow pointing to the 490 field. There is no matching 8XX in the record. The screenshot on the bottom left is of the search results from the OCLC authority file. As you can see, there is no entry for young explorers around. So I've got that blue highlight where it should have appeared in the search. And then the screenshot on the right is just the front cover of the young explorers around New York. So you can see what the book looks like. Okay, so we're going to look at some series-like phrase examples, which will not have series statements, but will have a MARC field 500 general note. So if the phrase is essentially a unnumbered statement of the commercial publisher or includes a sub-imprint name or name of a subsidiary, a division, etc. of a publishing firm, reject it as a series title, give the phrase as a quoted note if the name is not recorded in the publication statement, PCC, Program for Cooperative Cataloging. In the screenshot, Inner Science publication is in the 130 second indicator 0 field, which is the heading uniform title, but the 667 field non-public general note informs us that this is not to be considered a series and to give this phrase as a quoted note if Inner Science does not appear in the imprint. So let's take a look at the MARC record. So this is a MARC record for progress in inorganic chemistry. So notice the 500 general note for an inter-science publication, which is how this series-like phrase should be documented. However, there is also 490 first indicator 1 and 830 second indicator 0 combination for the valid series title, Progress in Inorganic Chemistry, which is good. That's fine because that's a real series. However, if Inner Science publication was in the 490 or 8XX field, then it should be deleted from the record. But this one is right. Okay, so if the phrase includes the name of an in-house editor or some other official of the firm, etc., reject it as a series title, give the phrase as a quoted note, and that guidance is from the PCC. So in the screenshot on the left, Michael DeCapua books in the 130 second indicator 0 field, which is the heading uniform title. However, the 667 field, which is the non-public general note, tells us to give this as a quoted note. And then the cover image of the Devil's Other Storybook, which is referenced in the 670 field, source data found, of the authority record is on the right. So we're going to look at the MARC record for that book. So this is MARC record for the Devil's Other Storybook. So notice there's a 500 MARC field general note with Michael DeCapua books, and there is neither a 490 nor an 8XX for this series-like phrase, which there shouldn't be. So there's just that 500 note. Okay, so on the left is a bibliographic record for Murder by Mail by M.D. Lake. There is not a traced or untraced series for Peggy O'Neill mystery on the authority file. So the cataloger who created this record decided to add that information in a quoted note in the 500 field, general note, which is suggested by the PCC, give as a quoted note. And on the right is the front cover of Murder by Mail, which is a little creepy looking. Okay, so if the phrase is a slogan, motto, prize, etc., reject it as a series, give the phrase as a quoted note. Use field 500 if the phrase is a slogan or motto. Use field 586 if it is information relating to a prize or award. Again, that's the guidance from the PCC. So the bibliographic record for Prophet Song by Paul Lynch is on the left. Notice that a 586 field awards note has been added, Booker Prize, 2023, but there's not a 490 or an 8XX field since this is not considered a series. The front cover of Prophet Song is on the right, and notice in the top right corner of the cover is the Booker Prize 2023 winner. So some materials have series-like phrases which should not be documented in a 490 8XX combination, but in a 500 field instead. So looking at the authority record for Oklahoma Museum of Natural History publication, we see in the 667 field non-public general note that this series-like phrase should be given as a quoted note in the bibliographic record, and then an added entry should be created for the museum. If the phrase is essentially an unnumbered statement of the name of the body from which the item emanates, reject it as a series title, give the phrase as a quoted note if the name of the emanating body is not given elsewhere in the bibliographic record. In other words, as the name of the publisher, in a note for the issuing body, etc. Again, that's guidance from the PCC. So let's look at a MARC record example. So this is a MARC record for search for the purebloods. However, remember from our previous slide, this series-like phrase should be given as a quoted note in the bibliographic record, which there is in the second 500 field. And there is an arrow pointing at that one. And then an added entry should be created for the museum, which there is in the 710 first indicator 2. And there's also an arrow pointing at that field. But someone also added the series title Oklahoma Museum of Natural History series in the 490 first indicator 1 field, and Oklahoma Museum of Natural History publication in the 830 second indicator 0 fields. And there's arrows pointing to those fields as well, but those two fields should be deleted from this record. All right, we're going to look at examples of MARC field combinations 490 first indicator 1 and 800 first indicator 1. So on the left is a copy of the title page for When the Music's Over by Peter Robinson. On the verso is the list of books written by Robinson, including the Inspector Banks novels. The OCLC screenshot on the right is the authority record for the Inspector Banks series. The series title is in the 100 field, so the series will appear in the 800 first indicator 1, which is series added entry, personal name, surname, in the bibliographic record. The 645 field, series tracing practice, subfield A has a T, that's the line that's highlighted in blue, means that the series is traced. If the 645 subfield A was an N, then that would mean the series is not traced. I'm not going to delve into the MARC fields of an authority record since that is outside the scope of this presentation. So here is the MARC record for When the Music's Over. So the series statement, Inspector Banks Mystery, with a subfield V23 is in the 490 first indicator 1, with 1 as the first indicator showing that this is a trace series. The series in the 490 is found on the item itself. Evidently, the book used to catalog this had a different series statement than the screenshot from the previous slide, which was Inspector Banks novels. The series title is in the 800 first indicator 1 field, series added entry, personal name, with the author's name in subfield A, Peter Robinson, his birth and death dates in subfield D, 1950 to 2022, and the title of the series in subfield T, Inspector Banks series. This is the authorized series title. Numbering was not included as part of the authority record, which is why the volume number is not included in subfield V in the 800 field. So this is I is for Innocent by Sue Grafton. The front cover image is on the left. So the series publication page listing the Kinsey Milhome Mysteries is the middle screenshot. And then the partial screenshot on the right is from the authority file on OCLC showing that the series is a name title entry. So the authorized series will be in an 800 first indicator 1 field, which is series added entry, personal name in the bibliographic record. So let's look at the MARC record. So this is a bib record for I is for Innocent from OCLC. The series statement in the 490 field is traced. We know that because the first indicator is 1 in the 490 field. Kinsey Milhome Mysteries transcribed is found on the item, which also matches the series listed on the page from the previous slide. And then the series title in the 800 field has Grafton, Sue in subfield A, and the authorized series title Kinsey Milhome Mysteries in subfield T, which matches the statement in the 490 field. Remember, this does not always happen, and we've already seen some examples of that. Okay, so this is Missing and Endangered. It's part of the Joanna Brady series. So when you search in the OCLC Authority database for the title Joanna Brady, there are 2 search results as the top center screenshot. And then if we look at the first one, bottom left corner, there is a 100 first indicator 1, subfield A, Jantz comma, Judith A, subfield T, Joanna Brady Mysteries. So, and there are also two 400 fields, Brady novel suspense and Joanna Brady series with print in parentheses, but these are C from fields, so we can't use these as a series title. The 380 field, form of work, tells us that this is a series. There are two 643 fields, series place and publisher issuing body, one for regular print and one for large print. There are also two 670 fields, source data found, the first one for the regular print and the second one for the large print. And then the screenshot on the bottom right is for Jance, Judith A, subfield T, Joanna Brady series. At first glance, this might seem like a possible series title until you find the 667 field, non-public general note, which informs us that this series title applies to audiobook formats. If we were cataloging the audiobook, then we could use this series title. All right, let's look at the MARC record for missing and endangered. So this is just part of the record. I didn't include all of the fields. So in the 490 for syndicator 1 field, series statement, series traced, we see Joanna Brady Mysteries is in subfield A, and then BK period 19 is in subfield V, so book 19. Remember the 490 field is for transcribing the series as found on the item. And then in the 800 field, series edit entry personal name, the author's inverted name is in subfield A, Jance, Judith A. The series title is in subfield T, Joanna Brady Mysteries, and the volume number is in subfield V, BK period 19 or book 19, which is the authorized series title. So why is this series in an 800 and not an 830 field, series edit entry uniform title? Because the authority file for the series has the main entry in a 100 field, not a 130 field. This is an unnumbered series. The series number was coded as B for unnumbered series in the authority record. So it's okay that book 19 is in the 490 field, but it should be removed from the 800 field. And BK is an approved abbreviation in RDA. All right, so this is the MARC record for the example of the audiobook series. So remember a few slides ago, we were looking at the two different series titles for the Joanna Brady series. So this is an audiobook. So in the 490 for syndicator 1 field series statement, there is Brady novel of suspense. Remember, transcribed as found on the item. And then in subfield A, and then in the 800 for syndicator 1 field, we have Jance, Judith A, and then subfield T, Joanna Brady series, the authorized series title for audiobooks. I'm not sure why they decided to have two distinct series titles, but they did. Okay. So on the left is a screenshot of the authority record for Galbraith Robert, subfield T, Cormoran Strike novel. Since this is in a 100 for syndicator 1 field, the authorized series statement will be in an 800 for syndicator 1 field in the bibliographic record. An image of the front cover of the running grave is on the right, and above the title is a Cormoran Strike novel. So this is the MARC record for Running Grave. It's just part of the bib record. The series is in the 490 for syndicator 1 field, a Cormoran Strike novel, and then you have subfield V with 7. So it's book 7 in the series. And that's how the series appears on the item. And then the authorized series statement is in the 800 for syndicator 1 field with the author's inverted name in subfield A, Galbraith, Robert, the series title in subfield T, Cormoran Strike novel, and the volume number in subfield V7. This is an unnumbered series, so the subfield V7 should be removed from the 800 field. So now we're going to look at an example of MARC field combination 490 for syndicator 1, 810 for syndicator 2. So in the screenshot on the left is Boston in the 245 field, and that's part of the Lonely Planet City Map series. So look at the 490 for syndicator 1, series statement traced. So the series statement transcribed is found on the item. And then the authorized series statement is in the 810 for syndicator 2 field, series added entry, corporate name, name and direct order. So we have Lonely Planet Publications with firm, in parentheses, a period, and then subfield T, Lonely Planet City Map series. And then the screenshot on the right is the authority record for the series title with a 110 and then a for syndicator 2 for the series. So now we're going to look at an example of MARC field combination 490 for syndicator 1 and an 811 for syndicator 2. So this is the authority record for the series title, Columbia University Bicentennial Conference, subfield D, 1954, subfield C, Columbia University, all in parentheses, and then you have a period, subfield T, Columbia University Bicentennial Conference Series. And that's all found in the 111 First Indicator 2 field, so that's a heading meeting name. And then in the bibliographic record, the series will be in an 811 First Indicator 2 field, series edit entry, meeting name, name in direct order. So for the 111 First Indicator 2, subfield D is for date of meeting or treaty signing, subfield C is for location of meeting, and subfield T is for title of work. With this specific combination, the subfield codes should be in a DCT sequence. There is one C from reference, a 430 field bicentennial conference series. So let's look at a MARC record for this series and see how they handled it. So here's our MARC record. The Metropolis in Modern Life has a series title Columbia University, and then Bicentennial Conference Series is in the 490 First Indicator 1 field. Transcribing the series statement is found on the item. And the authorized series title is in the 811 First Indicator 2, series at an entry, meeting name, name in direct order. So you have Columbia University Bicentennial Conference, subfield D, and then you have opening parenthesis, 1954, space, colon, space, subfield C, Columbia University, close parentheses, period, space, subfield T, Columbia University Bicentennial Conference Series. I know that one's kind of a long series title, but that's how they formatted that one. Okay, now we're going to look at an example of MARC field combination 490, first indicator 1, then 830, second indicator 0. So this is the authority record for Buckinghamshire Record Society, and then series is in parentheses, with the series title in the 130 second indicator 0 field, which is heading, uniform title. So we know that this will be in the 830 second indicator 0 field, series at an entry, uniform title for the bibliographic record. The 410 and 430 fields are C from headings, so those can't be used as the authorized series title. So let's look at the bibliographic record for this series. So the PCC tells us if the phrase is essentially a numbered statement of the name, initialism, acronym, or part of the name of the body from which it emanated, and that body is not a commercial publisher, consider the phrase to be a series title, transcribe the information in the series statement. So looking at the screenshot of the Buckinghamshire Record Society publication, it's not considered a series statement, so that can be found in the 490 First Indicator 1. But notice in the 490 field, subfield V has VOL period 40, and again, volume can be abbreviated according to RDA. Again, that's transcribed as found on the item. And then the 830 field has subfield V and O period 40, NO, abbreviation for number, is the authorized series statement. So in the 830 field, the indicator 0 is the second indicator instead of the first, as it was for the other 8XX fields. And then the 830 second indicator 0 field, series added entry, uniform title, also has the authorized series statement, Buckinghamshire Record Society, and then series in parentheses. And then you've got the subfield V number 40. All right, so this is the authority record for the Native American series, and then East Lansing, comma, MICH period in parentheses. There are two C from 430 fields for Michigan State University Press Native American series and Native American Studies series. Remember, those are C from, so we can't use those as authorized series titles. Since the series statement is in the 130 field in the authority record, it will be in the 830 field in the bibliographic record. So let's take a look at the bibliographic record. So this is for absentee Indians and other poems. The series statement is in the 490 First Indicator 1 field, Native American series, remember transcribed is found on the item. And then the authorized series statement is in the 830 Second Indicator 0 field, series added entry, uniform title, which is the Native American series, and then the East Lansing MICH period in parentheses. So the screenshot on the left is the authority record for the Pokemon series. The series title is in the 130 second indicator 0 field in the authority record. So notice in the screenshot on the right of the bibliographic record from OCLC, the authorized series is in the 830 second indicator 0 field. For Island of the Giant Pokemon, the 490 and the 830 fields both have Pokemon as the series title in subfield A and the volume number 2 in subfield V. Okay. I think this is sometimes a feeling that we've all had, the feeling you get when you realize that your favorite book series is over. And maybe get the feeling of, oh, this presentation is over. So here are some helpful resources when determining series statements. And now it's going to be time for questions. And here are the CMC staff that are hopefully on the call.
Yay. Pam, I have no questions in the chat.
What? Oops, something just popped up.
Oop.
I don't know why it always tries to
We'll go
click
ahead
off of. Hang on, let me bring
there
it
we
back
go.
up. Okay, hopefully they'll stay there. Okay.
Oh, I'm sorry, I did miss one. Mary started us
Yep.
off. Doing a quick Google search, it looks like the MD Lake wrote 10 books with the same secondary title of Peggy O'Neill Mystery, which would make it appear to be a series. Considering, is it a series-like phrase or should it be a 490 with the first indicator of 0?
Well, I mean, if she does have that many, I suppose if somebody wanted to maybe create a series authority record, then it could be a 491 even. But from the guidance from PCC right now, I think it really just needs to be a series-like phrase. But it does seem a little crazy when she's written that many. Is that the only question? Nope. Do you want to read that one, Eric?
We can't hear you, Eric. You're muted.
Oh, okay, that's better. It's not just a headphone thing. Okay, this is from Melissa. Can you review again when we would not add the volume/book number to the 8XX field?
So let me see if I can go back to the authority record that's got, whoops. So it's the series number, I don't know if you can, if I can get my mouse. So do you see this SER NUM here at the top? It's that coding there that lets you know whether or not you can do the numbering.
Hey Pam, do you want to change the display settings? Because it's a smaller screenshot right now. So we're seeing your presenter view.
Hang on, I gotta force my mouse down. Okay, can you see it now?
Yes.
So yeah, so that first column, the last one, the SER NUM, indicates whether or not you're going to use a number.
And Melissa says thanks.
Yep. Let me see if I could find one that had an actual number.
And Mary added, also, you'll usually find the numbering if it is traced in the 642 field of a record.
Yes. Which that one does not have a 642. Okay, Sorry, I was trying to find one that actually had. Okay, Inspector Banks. Let's see what the authority. Yeah, so this one does have SER, and UM with B. And so then, but yeah, so there's no numbering on that one. I was trying to find one that had a 642 in the authority record. Surely there was one. Well, if I can't find one, I'll just try to send you an example of one. Yeah, because I think we're too far now. Sorry, don't look if you'll get dizzy. Yeah, because it's not going to be here because all the 490 zeros. Okay.
The Pokemon one did, if you wanted to look at that one.
Okay, thanks.
I'm pretty sure.
Now that everybody's dizzy. Yeah, because that one didn't have a 642. Okay.
I do have another question in chat when you're
When I
ready
get to
for
the
that.
end. Oops. Fat fingers. Okay. So yeah. So the Pokemon has the SER and UM is coded as A. So if it's coded as A, then you can use the number. Okay.
Okay, so Charlie asks, you mentioned that BK is appropriate text before the volume number. What other options are appropriate?
Oh, you mean like, so you can use, I mean, oh, I hate when that does it. Are you talking about approved abbreviations? So
Yes, yes.
book, volume, and number are all still approved abbreviations that you can use. But remember, when you are putting the series in a subfield V in a 490, you're going to be transcribing as it appears on the item. So if it says BOOK, then you should really write out BOOK in the 490. But it might be the series authority file might have BK period in the authorized series title, if that makes sense. And I can't remember if we mentioned, so the slides without the notes are in L2 right now, and then after the presentation, I'll upload the slides with the notes. Program for cooperative cataloging. I'm sorry, Jesse. She wanted to know what PCC stands for. Yep, I mentioned that at the beginning.
Yep.
That's okay. That's all right. And then we're recording this, and so we'll send out the link depending on when we get it back from our IT person, either tomorrow or early next week, hopefully. And this is the last of our sessions for this fiscal year, so we'll start back in August. We're still crafting the titles and the descriptions of the sessions. So hopefully I'll get those in L2 soon, and we'll start letting you know about all those. Oh, sorry, Melissa. Yes, so they are really ISBD approved abbreviations, but we can still use those in RDA. Sorry, Eric. If your library uses ISBD punctuation, not all libraries do.
All right, I see no more questions in the chat. I have clicked the button to allow everyone to unmute themselves. If you'd prefer to ask your question without typing it, you can do that. Oop, Mary did add, you can let us know if what you see on the book doesn't match an authority record, and we can update it in the series authority record. Say if the whole series has the same numbering format, but it isn't that way in the series authority record.
Yes.
We can do that.
And I know that Eric put the evaluation link. It's also linked in the L2 event. So if everybody could please fill that out.
Yep,
We
I can do it
really
again.
want your feedback on our presentations as well as input for upcoming only with the CMC webinars. Okay, if nobody has any other questions, I just want to thank everybody for joining us today, and hopefully you'll join us back when we start up again in August. Thanks, guys.
Thank you, everyone.
Do you want to stop the recording?
Yeah, just getting, there it is. Are you sure?